What is Erik Ten Hag's system, his philosophy, his identity at Manchester United? Why aren't we playing like Ajax? So many questions that United fans haven't had many answers so far this season. But Ten Hag, ahead of Fulham, he was asked directly about those "we can't play like Ajax" comments. And his answers help us understand exactly what Ten Hag meant, so we can understand exactly where he actually wants this team to head towards. I've done loads of videos like this before, but I think this one's quite important because Ten Hag effectively came out defending his comments. You can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. But look, it was these comments from Erik Ten Hag which kind of got tongues wagging. Everybody, I think, fairly expected United to start playing like Ajax under Ten Hag. In the same way that when Klopp went to Liverpool, they started to play like Klopp's team. In the same way that when Guardiola went to City, they started playing like Guardiola. That's what everybody expected at United. Now, what I'm going to do is run through this interview. It's a little 1 minute, 40-second interview with Ten Hag. I'm going to cut it into sections because I think it's important. This is the first one.
But I can't play like Ajax because they're different players. So I came here with my philosophy based on possession, but also to combine it with the DNA of Manchester United.
So in here, Ten Hag saying, look, of course I came with my philosophy from Ajax, my possession-based football, but also at the same time, he wants to adapt to Manchester United. And you know one thing that I definitely underestimated with Ten Hag, or underestimated the importance of, how much he feels he adapts his tactics to the players that he has available. Because of course, at Ajax, the players that he's got available are all technically gifted footballers, possession-based footballers. That's the school of thought at Ajax. And at Manchester United, if you're talking about the best transitioning team in the world, you're looking at that team between 2007 and 2009. I saw Ten Hag bring the possession system in, the 3-1-6. I explained all this quite a lot of times, but we haven't quite seen it so far at United. And I think that adaptability to the players is something that I underestimated the importance of. But Ten Hag was quick to remind everybody that we saw some good football last season.
And combine it with the players, with the competences, with the characters of the players. And that do you combine, and I think last year we have seen what that was. I think we played very good football last season.
United last season, we peaked in January to February. That was when it was brilliant. After the League Cup final, it all went downhill. But there was one game which you know, well, maybe you don't. Anybody who's followed the United People's TV over the last year or so will know that I keep going on about this game. When we beat Spurs 2-0 at Old Trafford, and that was back in, what, November, December time? It was in this game where Manchester United, October time, all right? That's how early it was. This, I still think, stands as probably the best performance we've seen from a Manchester United team under Erik Ten Hag. Look, lineup, oh man, look at that defence, that makes you cry. Varane, Martinez, Delo and Shaw. Haven't seen that this season. Man United lined up here in the 4-2-3-1, but it ended up being more like that 3-1-6 system, right? Because Fred was really aggressive. It was Casemiro Casemiro holding on his own as a number 6. But Man United pressed with intensity. All the stats. Look how many shots we had, man. 28 shots. We were dominant. It's not just that. You can look all over the pitch. Tackles, duels, 144 duels. It was a high-pressing, high-intensity game for Manchester United. And that, for me, is still exactly where Ten Hag wants this team to get towards. And that's what he was explaining there. Now, this next clip is quite important as well. Have a listen.
And this season, the philosophy is not different. Only I would emphasize more on go direct. But the explanation for my direct, they thought that I want to go for long balls. No, I don't want Andre Onana and to go for long balls.
Ten Hag's comments there about Onana and about the players that he signed are probably why I said, almost can't believe what Ten Hag said about we can't play like Ajax. You don't sign Martinez, you don't sign Onana, you don't sign those players unless you do want to play that possession-heavy, focused style. But there is no doubt whatsoever that this season, United and Ten Hag have had to adapt. And I think that's something that's ended up being a little bit of a strength for Manchester United, but also a slight weakness. This little bit here from Ten Hag offers a little bit of insight into that bit.
I know I want to play from the back, as we did, and we tried it every game, also against City. But if an opponent is going so in a high press, yeah, that is a good option to go direct
When United have had our roughest patch this season, Ten Hag switched to that slightly more pragmatic style. In the same way that we switched after Brighton and Brentford last season, we won 4 in a row. We switched and we won 3 in a row. But then we kind of was semi-pragmatic going into the City game and we got ripped to shreds. It helped us get out of the hole, but it's not going to help us get to the very top, which is where we all want us to be. But as Ten Hag explains here, he has no desire to make Manchester United simply a team that plays direct football.
What I meant with directness is, and I explain it I thought it was in the USA on you all, how we want to play.
And that's where we go back to this. What he said in the pre-season. He wants Manchester United to be the best transition team in the world. And as I said, if we go back to, you're looking at the peak of Manchester United, you're going to be looking at that team there from 2007 to 2009. That was the best transitional team in the world. And if that's what Ten Hag is aiming for, then that is the perfect example of it. But he doesn't want to play direct, not in the long term. It might be an option when you're playing up against a team that's a high press, but not in the long term. That's what Ten Hag is really... It almost felt like Ten Hag was annoyed when he was responding here. That's what it kind of felt like. Like he was defending his own principles. Like he's like, I've explained this to you before. Why have I got to do it again? Kind of like he was a little bit annoyed. And in this final little bit, Ten Hag explains, look, when it all works, this is what it's going to look like.
We want to press. We want to press from different blocks and then go direct, because we have the players like Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford and Anthony and Bruno and Scott McTominay, who are very good in it, with passing from Christian Eriksen, with our fullbacks and joining in. That was my idea, and I think I explained it very clear.
I really like this part of the press conference from Ten Hag. He felt like people were misunderstanding him, and maybe this is part of it. Maybe it's a lost in translation sort of thing. Maybe to do with mannerisms, to do with how he's presenting things. But Ten Hag has it so clear in his head. The issue is we haven't seen it on the pitch. And all I can hope for now is that, look, if we can get Ratcliffe in on a 25% takeover and we can genuinely have a new sporting department, Paul Mitchell comes in, takes all transfer responsibilities away from Erik Ten Hag. It goes back to him just being asked, what sort of football do you want to play? What's your vision for Manchester United in 5 years? Okay, all you need to do now, Erik, is coach that team. Manage those players. That is your sole responsibility at Manchester United now. And then, if that's the case, Paul Mitchell can then sign the players that we need to. Manchester United can then, all of a sudden, more regularly, be putting in performances like that against Tottenham Hotspur. Because that was, for me, the perfect game. Defensively aggressive. In possession, we offered so much. Threat going forward, fast on the counter, winning the ball high up the pitch, worked as a team. That's the blueprint. And I think if we can play like that more often, then more of these will come. And Ten Hag, as I said, he's come under a lot of scrutiny this season. Rightly so in these last few weeks. He's made a lot of individual errors himself. Unforced errors, I would call. Tactical mistakes. But Ten Hag has not, in his eyes anyway, lost his vision of how he wants Manchester United to play. That's not translated so far this season. But we have to hope now that it continues to get better. It continues to grow, because I think we've seen better football last season than we've seen this season. I was talking about that Spurs game. That was October last year. That's 13 months ago. Where's the progression? Fans will eventually run out of patience. I haven't, because I think Erik is the right coach for us. But you can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. Until next time, take it easy.